Hey, what is up guys? So you guys have been asking me about the new StashAway Simple or StashAway Boost, whatever you call it, the 3% interest rates, as well as the StashAway Flexible Portfolio that you can invest in the S&P 500. So I will talk about that and I will give you my verdict at the end of this video. So we'll start with StashAway Simple, which is a money market fund. As we all know, it currently has a promotional rate of 3% and it gives you up to 3.2%. And just to note here, it is currently investing in M Income Fund, which is not a Sharia compliant fund, just so you know. And this is also highlighted by StashAway themselves. StashAway Simple will no longer be Sharia compliant. So for what it's worth, take note on that. So we look at the offer itself. It says earn up to 3.2% per annum when you refer friends. And if you refer 1 or 2 friends from 1st of July to 31st August and your friend makes up to 2 deposits, you can earn 3% per annum and up to 3.2% when your second friend makes a deposit, and your friend can earn 3%. But if you read into its terms and condition, it is currently limited to the first 5,000 new investors in StashAway from 1 July 2022 to 31 August 2022. So another line that you need to take note here, the promotional projected rate of 3% per annum will apply on up to 20,000 ringgit of funds in a StashAway Simple portfolio. This means that you can only enjoy that rate for up to 20k. So if you deposit more than 20k, say 30k, the extra 10,000 ringgit will not be able to enjoy that 3%, and instead you will only go back to the usual rate, which is around 2.4%. So I don't know about you, but I really don't like this 5,000 new investors quota, because correct me if I'm wrong, we can't even see it on their website or on our mobile StashAway app. So how would I know whether I'm still within the 5,000 or more than 5,000? You know, I think it's a very smart product design, but for consumers like us, it's definitely a disadvantage because we will never know about this, and probably a lot of us will just deposit into it without reading the fine prints. So how much is 3.2%, right? Well, I made this very simple Excel calculation model, nothing fancy. You can also replicate it yourself. So let's assume you invited 2 friends and they made a deposit and you get 3.2% per annum of interest rate, right? And let's assume we start this on the 1st of July and you deposited 20,000 ringgit into the StashAway Simple portfolio. You will only get an interest income of around 50 ringgit per month. And remember, this ends on the 31st December. So what if you deposit 10,000 ringgit because you don't have 20k? Well, you only get around 26 to 27 ringgit. And what if you put a lesser amount, like 5,000 ringgit? You will only get about 13 ringgit per month. So I don't know about you, this sounds great, 3% per annum, but you need to break it down divided by 12 to the monthly rate. And over the coming 6 months, to be honest, it's not a lot of money. And considering that you're gonna use this as an emergency fund, you need to take note that the withdrawal is gonna be up to 5 days according to this Lawyer Forumer. I have not tried it myself, so take it with a pinch of salt, but these are just some things that you need to take note of. Anyways, I'm not complaining because this is definitely better than Maybank's e-fixed deposit, which currently at the 6 months they give around 2.05%. And also if you look at Hong Leong FD, their 3 months they are giving 2.4%, whereas for their 6 months they are giving 2.5%. Of course, I'm not comparing apple and oranges right here, because banks do have their FD limitations and lockup period for interest and whatsoever. So I'm just comparing in terms of rates wise. You are actually not losing out a lot if you go for banks or whatever, because there's no 20k limit here. So if you are within 20k, then okay lah, StashAway Simple makes sense. But if you have more than 20k, then obviously it doesn't really make sense to me anymore. And if you ask me about emergency fund, I still prefer liquid cash as opposed to cash that is locked up for up to 5 days. It's not the worst thing, definitely, first world problem. And I would say emergency fund, it's there for a purpose. Yes, you may lose to inflation of around 3 to 4 to 5%, whatever, but really nothing can beat liquid cash when you can take it at a flick of a finger or a tap of a button on your bank mobile app and then get it sorted out, right? Anyways, let's look at the StashAway Flexible Portfolio, where you get to choose from template portfolio or customize your investment portfolio from scratch. So you can invest in bonds, commodities, equities, and whatnot. But what caught my eye was the S&P 500 index, which is also something that a lot of you have texted me about. So in terms of their management fee, which we all hated when it comes to robo-advisor, you can also get free investing until 30th June 2023 on any fresh funds deposited into flexible portfolios with their promotion. And if you read into their fine print, they did say that management fee is waived for 1 year until 30th June 2023. So it means that they are actually loss making from this unless they are making money from somewhere, which I suspected could be within the currency conversion spread, because it's impossible for them to run their OPEX or their company without charging you a single cent, right? So I looked into it, and under the pricing guide for the investment portfolio, there is a tiny footnote. It says that currency conversion fee charged by our vendor for NYR deposits and transfers to US dollar and Great Britain pound portfolios is 0.1% on the spot rate. Well, of course, if you take it on face value, it's 0.1% lah. And also backtrack a little bit. The promotion applies to all new deposits made until 30th June 2023 across any flexible portfolios created. The promotion is not valid on transfers into flexible portfolios from StashAway Simple or other investment portfolios. So keep in mind with that, only fresh money from your bank account can enjoy this management fee waiver. Whatever money you already have in StashAway, if you transfer it to this flexible portfolio or you withdraw it back to your bank account and then back into the flexible portfolio, those will not have free management fee waiver. But it's really weird to me, right? Because technically StashAway as a third-party fintech doesn't have any access to the bank's data as well. So how would they know whether that money was actually recently withdrawn from StashAway and then only deposited back into the StashAway portfolio from my bank account? Well, I don't know, maybe you let me know in the comments down below. So verdict time. For StashAway Simple, I think it's pretty understandable for a business point of view when you have KDI Invest doing the same thing, also 3% per annum rate of up to 31st December, end of this year. So it's a business decision to me, because they have to compete with each other, right? And then investors in this startup is also probably angry already because they have been losing money, plus they have not been making money. So they really need to pull up some tricks in terms of product design and offerings and whatsoever. So 5,000 new investors only, 20,000 ringgit limitation for the promotional rate, and probably up to 5 days for withdrawal. I think it's a little bit too much limitations already. It's definitely a good savings alternative, but to be honest, it can be better in terms of its offerings. But I'm not gonna complain since it's free, right? And then secondly, StashAway Flexible Portfolio. I like that it's customizable, the exchange rate is acceptable and subject to further testing, right? And then that there's no management fee until 30th of June 2023, which is 1 year from now lah. But then after that, which is 1 year from now, we will have up to 0.8% in exchange for convenience of investing in the S&P, which I think it makes zero sense, because who on earth passive invest in the index or ETF or whatever for only 1 year? So after that, if you are being charged 0.8% management fee, I think I would prefer or recommend you to invest directly via Interactive Brokers instead. You can fund it via Vice plus CMB Singapore or fund it via Wise directly. You can check out the links below. I mean, there are so many ways you can save a ton of money by just going a little bit extra steps. And once you cross the initial hurdle and set that up, that's it. You are set up for life and you can invest forever at a very low fee. So my overall feeling of these two products, I think it could be better. It could be just a business decision to bump up their revenue or compete for market share and whatever, right? Because they have been having substantial losses with their investment portfolio like KWEB and whatnot. Now, if you are wondering about my investment portfolio, which is the 36% risk index portfolio, let me just quickly look on my mobile app. Currently, I'm down about 21%. Now, I'll put a screenshot so that you can see. But just to clarify, I still dollar cost average 100 ringgit every single month, non-fail. Not because I love it or I think that it will go to the moon, but because I want to show a message or to prove a message or to prove a point that dollar cost averaging is definitely the best for a lot of investors out there. Time in the market beats time in the market, and the last thing you want is to try to time the market and leave whenever you have some losses. Now, to be honest, am I happy with StashAway's performance? Definitely no. It's a big no. What's the point of paying a robo-advisor that takes 0.8% fee while getting such a lackluster result? At least close to the -5 to 10%, I think is understandable for the current market situation. But I've started DCA for 2 years already and it's still -20+%. So that's pretty bad, honestly. And I think I could have done even better by just throwing the same amount of money into S&P 500 ETF directly instead of through a robo-advisor. So I totally understand if you guys are not happy with the return or the performance. So I really hate to be the guy that says this, but you can definitely cut your losses. Take this as a tuition fee, and from now onwards just invest directly with interactive brokers and whatnot. Much cheaper fee. You've learned your lesson. If it's not a huge amount, move on. Don't risk losing more opportunity cost. I think you can definitely get better out there. So another closing thought, StashAway just laid off 14% of its staff in June. I think this is StashAway Singapore, not sure about StashAway Malaysia. And the last time they raised fund was $25 million back in April 2021. That's about 14 months back then already. So as a startup, their funds are probably drying up, hence why they lay off and pushing out all of these investment products in hope of new liquidity. Are they running out of cash? I don't know, but just one last thing for you to note here. Digital banks in Malaysia are gonna roll off their services soon next year, probably in the Q2 to Q3. And there's a lot of competition coming up, and take my word for it, I think most of them are gonna start with cash management products such as a money market fund and whatsoever. So a lot of them are gonna introduce 2.5, 2.3% or maybe 3.5% of interest income. So I really don't know how StashAway is prepared for that. Or are they prepared at all? I don't know. Why don't you let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. As usual, I will see you in the next one.